I am aware that many people have no type of meditation practice, sitting down and looking at a blank wall or a candle, much less the pujas.
In Siddha Yoga, I don't think there was any puja around. Nityananda would have never taught anybody any puja. And he might have given somebody a mantra, I don't know. He didn't give me one. Muktananda would never say.
So it wasn't really in our lineage.
And that's true. It is
now.
It is now. Well, the thing is that puja kind of came into the lineage, into the Rudy format, from the tantric class that we do. Sort of amazing to me that, a few hours in front of a statue at the urging of Rudy, has kind of gone from the simple, totally simple, first of all, contact with a statue? Okay. A Tibetan statue? Into a whole explosion of experience and study in Tibetan Tantric Buddhism and, several distinct strands of Tantric practice. But this experience, the simple experience, has become a whole universe of activities. That experience led me to another experience, which led me to this, sort of encounter the Sri Vidya and the pujas and the practices. It's interesting that puja was not even slightly a significant part of Rudy's transmission.
Or Nityananda.
Or Nityananda's transmission. And this practice of puja sort of came to me personally, and I pursued it personally, and through, a long period of time, and it's taken me sort of a long time of practice and study in it to come to the place where I feel like I understand it well enough that I can really transmit it, and I'm facile with most of the elements of it to the degree that I can teach it. But, it is really, now it's a part of our lineage. It wasn't a part of my original experience. But I teach it because I think that it is, first of all, it is a clear, true statement about the nature of my own and all of our lives, individually and shared. And I think it is an appropriate format in which we can sort of, it's easier to get into meditation through the practice of puja than it is just to go sit down and on a cushion every day.
Gives us something to do.
We're kind of preparing ourselves and then moving into that experience. And, like, for me, offering a flower, I look at the flower. I think a lot of times I look and I think, wow, that is really beautiful. I didn't notice that before, but that is so beautiful. How nice. These little simple things that we do, are sort of a part of moving ourselves closer and closer to our own heart and to letting down our defensive routines and relaxing our boundaries to the degree that we can actually, tune into our breath and feel in our breath the resonance of our own aliveness. The original Trika puja was done in a cremation ground or on the bank of a river. It could have been done, next to a lake. But generally, I'd say streams or cremation places, and they're coexistent, got to have a cremation place next to a stream. Because after that, at the end of the fire, you kick everything into all the ash, all the remnants of the process go into the river. What is the metaphor there? Flow. The initial setting was in the cremation ground. Mm-hmm. Also, initially, the Sri chakra was drawn in the ground. A practitioner would build a mound of dirt, not very high, maybe 4 inches or so, 5 inches. It could be any height, but why bother building it very high? Could just be a couple of inches, but a mound of dirt. And then taking a stick that could have been, and most likely was, a piece of wood that was burned left over from a cremation fire. You inscribe the design, the image, on the stondula, the dirt. So that was the original. And then, you may have had, as a water bowl, you may have had a skull. Chud and Shri Chakra Puja basically come from the same background.
So you're saying Chud kind of was a practice that evolved later
I think they both came out of the same setting with slightly different purposes. But, if you think about Chud, in the final analysis, after you have distributed your body, first the best parts of yourself to your gurus and your Ishtadevata, and then secondly the crudest parts of yourself to the spirits, then you don't exist anymore, and the rest of the contemplation is really about the abundance of the ultimate reality, embodied in the form of Avalokiteshvara and his mantra and the circulation of the energy and the flow of bliss. I mean, yes, while they're sort of specific mindsets that you walk through are different, they're not really, in fact, different at all. And, in the graphic representation of the goddess of the Chud, which is Vajravarahi or Dorje Palmo, you will understand that the Dorje Palmo is exactly the same as Parapara, which is exactly the same as, and Parapara is considered to be, all of the variant forms of all of the goddesses of the chakras in Sri Vidya. In fact, Tripura Sundari herself is a form of Parapara. And the 8 wrathful deities, the wrathful goddesses that, make up the mandala of Parapara are exactly the same as, and considered to be the same as, the goddesses of the chakras in Sri Vidya. It's only that, rather than seeing all of these goddesses as wrathful and intense, in Sri Vidya, they are fundamentally beneficial. But, that's only just subtle difference of, personality. Mm-hmm. We're sort of like trying to approach the nice side of all these goddesses, but, piss them off and you'll see something else.
Everybody in this country is doing yoga. Isn't the essence of yoga what you're talking about? And as far as lineages go, which we just talked about, are these practices at the root of yoga?
Oh yeah.
I mean, sure. It is our lineage in that sense.
These practices, well,
there is no yogic lineage now that doesn't trace back eventually to these practices.
The practices are about opening our heart and finding within ourselves our own inner richness, which, going deeply into that inner richness, dissolves our sense of individual self and, makes available to us an awareness of our total interconnectedness. That's
the definition of yoga.
Right.
All right, so that's a little bit of an intro to what we're talking about in this section on pujas, mantra, yantra.